What's up, everybody? This is Chris with Morebalance Training. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever wanted to start a podcast? Have you listened to podcasts and wondering like, hey, I could do that too? Well, if you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. Can't beat that, y'all. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or your computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many other platforms. You can make money, ching ching, dollar bill, y'all, from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast all in one place. So what do you have to do? Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm today to get started. What are you waiting for? You got a lot to say. Might as well let Anchor help you. What's up, everybody? This is Chris with Morebalance Training. Welcome to my first podcast. I appreciate you for turning in, listening to me. The day is April 8th, 2020. For many of us, we are across this country, across this world, dealing with a serious pandemic right now with the coronavirus. And so what I want to do is I want to kind of give you something to take your mind off of that. There's still people out there that need to meet certain goals in their life, physically, fitness-wise, whatever. Don't let this thing stop you, you guys. The motto, and you hear this plenty of times on this podcast, is to keep moving forward. Keep moving forward. For some of you guys, if you're Rocky fans, you might have understood that from one of the Sylvester Stallone lines. You keep moving forward. You know what I mean? So, I won't be doing many of those impressions, but I just wanted to enlighten your mood, give you something to just take your mind off of the world, off of what's going on. And as a lot of your times, your bank account might not, it's a lot of bad things going on out there with you guys right now. But today, we just it's a new day, and we want to just focus on what we can focus on. So, like I said, today is the first podcast for Morebalance Training, and we're going to be talking about a lot of different things on this platform, you guys. We're going to be talking about nutrition, health, ergonomics, ways to help yourself. Many people are working at home nowadays, so we're going to talk about different things to help you get through those moments where you're feeling a little tired, a little run down, where you want to reach certain goals that you have still. Even though the gyms are closed, you can still work out at home. So we're going to talk about a lot of those different things. So first, before we get into that, I want to tell you about myself. My name is Chris. I'm a certified personal trainer, fitness professional. I work in corporate fitness, I should say. Company I work for, we work for in the energy field. So I understand about how things are going right now with the gas and energy and all those things. So I'm a personal trainer. I also have a certification as a corrective exercise specialist, so I can help you reach your goals and to prevent any injuries. And also, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask me, email me, and we could talk about any of your problems that you may have, and I can give you the answer on this podcast, on this platform. Okay, sound good, y'all? All right. So like I said, personal trainer, been working in this field for 4 years now. Before that, I was a track and field coach. I have my bachelor's degree in sports science. And I also am working currently right now as we speak, a master's in exercise science with an emphasis in rehabilitation. So I enjoy helping people. I enjoy getting people through their injuries. That's what I like to do. Okay. So feel free to email me, ask me any questions you have to ask, whatever topic it may be, whether it be about weight loss, muscle gain, injuries, pains that you're feeling. We could talk about it all, guys. So today, like I said, I wanted to talk briefly about, certain things that people are feeling, especially now, if you are working from home, a lot of people sit down all day long. You're sitting down all day long. Okay. So what does that mean? What that means is you're putting your back at risk for some major problems in the long run. Some of you may be feeling these problems. You may be feeling like, oh, my lower back hurts. I wonder why this is. Well, let me explain something to you. Research is showing us that low back pain is one of the major forms of musculoskeletal degenerations seen in the adult population in this country. That's crazy. That's affecting nearly 80% of all adults, guys. Low back pain. Right? And it's predominantly among workers in enclosed workspaces. So if you're sitting down all day long, hunched over a desk, what do you think that's doing to your lower back? That's causing pressure. It's putting compression in your spine. Your posture is not that great, right? And it just doesn't stop there. If you work as a manual labor, like a farmer, or you bent over. I lived in Africa for a few years, and they bent over at their waist a lot to do a lot of their working. They didn't have like full brooms. A lot of the different villages out there, they didn't have full brooms that we're used to here. So they would bend over with this piece of straw, and they would brush or they sweep, or they bend over picking up their potatoes and things like that, like real manual work. So the lower back was all messed up. You see women in their late 50s, 60s, later on in life, and they're stuck like that permanently. Right? So it really takes a toll on your spine, guys. So if you're sitting for greater than 3 hours a day, longer periods than 3 hours a day, you may be feeling these issues, wonder like, oh man, my lower back hurts. And you might be thinking, and because of that I need to go see somebody and go see a doctor. But sometimes it's just you need to do something in reverse of what you've been doing. Okay? So more than 1/3 of all work-related injuries involve the trunk. And more of these, more than 60% involve the lower back. Okay? So if you've ever experienced this, if you work in a job where workers' comp claim is up, this might be the culprit. All right? So they become work-related injuries, and they cost workers, they cost the companies big time. Right? So combined, so like over all the people, 80% of the adult population combined, this is going to take about 39 million days of restricted activity. 39 million days overall. That's like you add up all the days people are missing. It's like it's an average about 9 days per case. So it's going to cost you. It's going to cost you time away from work, so you can't be making money to be buying the things you want to buy. Once this thing takes this coronavirus lifts, you won't have that time to go run out and go play with your kids because you bent over, just stuck in pain. And not only that, it's going to cost the United States more than $26 billion annually. This costs. Can you imagine that? And the thing is, you think that a lot of sports figures, you think a lot of athletes, you think that they have more injuries than the regular population, but they don't. Out of that, 80% of all adults, right? I just said 80% of all adults is experiencing low back pain. Well, out of that 80%, only 6 to 15% of these are athletes. This is any given year, you guys. So this is a huge situation. This is big. So what do we do about that? That's the question. What do we do? First and foremost, we have to kind of fix it. We have to look at our situation and fix what's going on, the problem. All right? We sit too much as a people. We sit too much. If you think about 3 hours, 8 hours in a day, we're sitting way too much. So, but don't worry. There's ways to fix it, ways to get through this thing So we're not going to the doctor. We're not having these expensive surgeries that I think they're not necessary. Because a lot of times we go get these issues fixed, we have surgeries done, issue's still there. It never corrects the issue, guys. So what we want to do is we want to talk about total health, full health of the body, right? So that's what we're talking about today, guys. So number one, what we want to do is to fix this. Number one, you have to strengthen your core. You have to strengthen your core. And don't think it's just the six-pack muscles you see. You see the Arnold Schwarzenegger from back in the day. You see these guys out there flexing. You even see the YouTube videos. You see the Instagram pictures of guys, all they got the shirts off and everything like that. That doesn't necessarily mean they have a strong core just because they have a six-pack. Let me tell you a little story about myself. I used to be a track and field runner, right? So back in the day, I had a really weak core, and I had a six-pack. Best believe your boy had a six-pack. I'm in my 40s now, so that's a little. It's more of like a 3 to 4 pack nowadays. But back then it was a six. Well, yeah, that's a different story. So anyway, had the six-pack, but my core, which your core, if you don't understand, your core is everything between your armpits and your hips. That's all your core. My core is really weak. And I didn't notice at the time. I wasn't in fitness like that. I just worked out. I had coaches, they were great people, but didn't know what they were doing. As I got more, developed later on in life and I became a coach myself, I realized that my coaches didn't know anything what they were talking about. But hey, again, that was a different story. So I used to develop hamstring strains continuously because my lower back, my core was really weak, right? Always happened to me at the wrong time. At the best part of the season, we going to get ready for regionals and conference and all them things and state, strain my hamstring. No matter what I did, I would overtrain my hamstring through the off season and still have a hamstring injury. It took me to the point where I actually would go to a chiropractor because I would have tightness in my lower back. I would have go to a chiropractor. My chiropractor, would tell me, hey, Chris, you have weak core, you have weak lower back. This is why your hamstrings bother you. So we have to understand this thing that the body, everything translates to one part of the body to the next. So if your lower back is bothering you, then you have hamstring issues. If you have flat feet, translates to your knees. Okay, so we'll talk about all the different stuff later on down the line on other shows. But today I want to focus on how to correct your lower back pain, right? Very simple, very simple. So number one, what you want to do is strengthen your core muscles daily. And I don't just mean crunches. Crunches is okay. What it does is the rectus abdominis is the muscle that there's see the visual muscle, the abs that you see. That's well and dandy. But a lot of times what that does again is put stress on the lower back. So we don't want to do those type of exercises. We want to do other things. There's other exercises such as planks, right? There's other exercises such as, and planks, a lot of people will not like planks because they're boring. There's very different variations of planks. There's a plank pulse, there's a plank twist, there's a side plank pulse holding on one side. There's different variations of the planks. You could do planks on a TRX strap. You could do planks on the wall. You could do different variations. You could do planks with your feet on the floor. On a raised or elevated surface. Different types of planks that you can do. So you don't have to just do normal planks, right? There are other exercises such as reverse crunches. You say, hey, Chris, what the regular crunches are bad. Yeah, but the reverse crunches, what they do is they focus slowly on the lower abs, right? And there's the proper ways to do them. There's certain ways we've always been taught from the back in the day, and I personally don't agree with it. It's just my personal opinion. But a lot of times people do them with the straight legs, lowering the legs to about 3 or 4 inches from the ground and then raising it back up. What that does, if you've never done that, you've noticed that starts affecting your hip flexors, right? You start feeling it more in your hip flexors than your abs. So what to do to minimize that is to bend your knees, right? Bend your knees, and then after the end of the movement, lift your butt off the ground to get more of the contraction in the lower abs. And do that.